Welcome back to Melodic Memories of Light's Monarch. I'm Casey, and may the 4th be with you. Granted, on the day you're listening to this, if you're listening to it on the release day, it is actually May 5th. And in saying such, I am recording it on May 4th, so I needed to at least say it once. More importantly than Star Wars Day, though, is Mental Health Awareness Month. So happy Mental Health Awareness Month to everyone. It runs from May 1st to 31st, and yes, it is something that shouldn't just be dedicated to a month. It should be every single day, but that's not how people operate, that's not how the world works, and in saying so, happy Mental Health Awareness Month. It is very important to be aware of things like that and to be able to talk about it, so never be afraid to reach out, even if it is to me, to your fellow friends. If somebody really cares about you, they will know that mental health isn't something to be taken lightly. It is a very serious topic, and it is something that you should try to get help for if you're feeling you're struggling, because believe me when I say I've been there, and it is very hard. It's one of the hardest things to deal with because it's every day. It is something that people struggle with day in, day out, 24/7, something that might never end. And be it if you're on medication, if you're raw dog in the world like I am, or if you're just around trying to exist, every day's different. Whatever your best is depends on the day, and just know that if you're waking up and getting up out of bed every single day, that's a win, and everything else past that just is all the better. Like, just keep on pushing, keep on trying. And this might sound like nonsense, but mental health isn't something to be taken lightly, and it is something that should be talked about more openly. And that is one thing that I do adore about my idol, my hero. He's been such since I was a teenager, I suppose, since I found the band. And I would still consider him as such. I don't follow him as closely as I had, but they are still my favorite band. And if you know who my favorite band is, you should know who I'm talking about. It is the vocalist of Black Veil Brides, being Andy Biersack. And the reason I bring him up is because he sent out an email. If you're subscribed to Black Veil Brides in their email, you will have already gotten this and probably read it yourself. But it was something that I had to share. I need to read it out for everyone to hear because it is so important and it's just so touching. Like, it just reminded me why back then and still now to this day, why he was so important and vital to me in growing and becoming who I am today and what I value and just what I cherish. Like, Black Veil Brides not only made me fall in love with music as a whole, but everything Andy stood for and talks for, it has always spoken to me. And it's something that I've followed throughout a very long career of his, as I've only been there since 2014. So there's been a lot more moments like this. So this email goes as such: Mental Health Awareness Month. And Andy says, "It occurs to me that mental health, and more broadly speaking, the subject of how you feel, how you think, and the ways that the emotions you have manifest themselves within the confines of life, are a subject that is in some ways almost too big to conceive of, and is somehow simultaneously a constant and sustained topic of conversation in nearly every aspect of modern human life. These conversations tend to center around the ways in which we are affected by our demons. It is true that we as a whole have a great number of beasts. We attempt to slay every waking moment. However, I speak to you in my capacity as a musician and writer, and admittedly not someone who is capable of solving these issues or even pretending to fully understand them. I want to talk about you. Not the monsters or the depths of despair in which they live, but the person reading this. Your spirit, your heart, your inherent ability to hold yourself up and fight on. I have, for the better part of the last 2 decades, been someone who writes songs about this idea, and for my part, am also a fellow demon slayer, as it were. Sometimes the trope of a rock song about fighting back against oppression is seen cynically, and frankly, if I'm honest, I have heard a great many rock songs that were written cynically in an attempt to appeal to you, the listener, as someone who is this or that thing, or should feel this or that thing. A bold and blatant attempt to sell you loneliness and sadness as a means of growing a career that hinges on you feeling further unhappiness and despair. That, and I don't mind saying this, is horrible bullshit. The truth is that songs, whether they are mine or anyone else's, never really saved you. My lyrics never made you into something new. You did that. You have always been the one leading your path through the endless darkness. My lyrics and all of our songs are sincere, and I hope that they have deep meaning to you. However, it is crucial that I tell you that I know that you are the one with the strength and the drive to be here today. When I was a kid listening to Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run record, I would often think this is exactly how I feel. And it meant so much to know that someone out there 20 years before I ever even heard those songs felt in my mind, at least, exactly how I did. This doesn't mean that Bruce, despite major inspiration, saved my life. It means that his art helped me access a part of myself that I had not been to before. And with every new song I heard or piece of art I took in, I found more and more about myself that could help me in the fight to save my own life. I like to look at art as a means of gaining tools for yourself, whether that is intellectually, spiritually, or emotionally. Something transformative can have a deep and profound effect on us, but at the end of the day, we are taking in the inspiration and apply what we have learned or using it in ways that help us. A growing sentiment in today's discourse is the idea that there is something wrong with all of us, that we are not demon slayers, but rather we the demons themselves. How, if that is true, would we ever be able to survive? Best because we are benevolent monsters, and at worst we are evil and hopeless. This feels wrong to me, and if you have connected with my writing over the years, I feel certain you would at least on some level agree. We are not the demons that dance in our minds and consume our hearts with darkness. We are the light and power and beauty that destroys them. You are not the thing that hurts you. You are not the fear and the despair. You are not a hapless subject to the whims of another or the result of someone else's opinions or artistic or political aspirations. You are strong, you are unique, and powerful. And I promise you that you are not alone. I will forever be grateful for all the ways that you have inspired me, and continue inspire all of us in BVB. I just want you to remember the next time that you feel that demon creeping up to the surface, you've got this. You have always known how to slay the monsters. Sometimes we all just need a little reminder of how fucking great we are. So let me remind you, you are fucking great. Andy Biersack. Now, if that didn't inspire something within you, I don't know what else to tell you, because holy shit. Andy, love that man, everything he stands for, everything he writes about. I know I don't know him personally, so I'm sure there's certain depths that I don't know, as all of us have that certain side, the certain depths within ourselves that we don't show to anyone. And in saying all of that, Andy Biersack has always been someone to stand up for the disenfranchised, for the outcasts, and for us, if we feel as such. And I have definitely felt in that mold for ever since I was younger. I've always been different. I've always been weird. And I know as I've gotten older and more akin to myself and more feeling myself, more proud and confident, that it has gotten easier. Life does get easier for certain people, others it doesn't. And that's just depends on what life path you're on. And in saying all of it, Andy Biersack has always been somebody to just speak for us. Speak towards us and help us through things in ways that he's been dealing with himself. And he's true. None of that music, or any music for that matter, saves a person. It might inspire you and give you the strength to push through. And that's something that I love about music, is that it is one of the biggest crutches that people can really lean on, because it is something that will always be there. You go out and buy a record, you can have that record and make an attachment to it and really feel these lyrics are something that you feel personally. And that's saying something with that artist not even knowing who you are. Maybe they do, but they're speaking from a place of experience that they personally know, not anything that you could even begin to think of. Except for certain artists that, like he mentioned, do try to feed off of that sadness and try to sell you, hey, you fit this mold, here's some sad shit, and just expect it to work. And granted, sometimes it does. I'm guilty of that too. Like, honestly, I'm sure I have lots of music in my phone on Spotify or even on vinyl, CD, whatever the case, that are probably made in that way, in that vein. And no, it isn't right. But if it helps you, it still helps you. And if you want to support it, you can still support it. It's, again, the beauty of music. You are allowed to make your own opinions and are allowed to have the music that you want to have, the music you want to listen to. And if it helps you, fucking great. That is awesome that it helps you. And if it's something that just makes you sad for the sake of being sad, maybe try to rethink it and really question whether or not it has a place in your life, if that's the path you want to go down. Because at the end of the day, mental health is a very serious issue, as I mentioned prior. And with Andy saying all that he had said, I have to say it's straightforward to just say, like, hey, if you need help, look out for it, reach out for it, and you are strong, you are you, no matter what anyone else says. And keep on pushing, because you are fucking great, just as Andy had said. Now, I might not articulate words the best off the top of my head, but I do have to say, Andy sure said some great things in that email, and I'm glad to have read it. And even though it was longer, I had to say something about it because it really spoke to me. It reminded me and brought me back to the old days of when I was following Andy very, very closely in Black Veil and all of his projects, Andy Black, everything, and even American Satan. And honestly, I still love this man. He's still someone to look up to, and I am a person that believes that his music helped me through a really hard time, along with music in general does, but Black Veil was always there for me, no matter what, and always has been. And even to this day, when I have a really shitty day, I'll just drift away and put on a Black Veil record, or any other artist that really speaks to me, like NF and whatever, but Black Veil has always been my go-to, especially in the moments that I feel nothing left. And they inspire me every single time with the same records and same songs, because it's not like they change. Every time they inspire me, especially when they release something new, they just inspire and make me feel like, they make me feel like I'm better than I am. That I'm worth a shit. That I should give a damn about myself. And the fact that that music is able to do that towards me and make me feel not that alone, that's the only thing I feel as an artist could ever hope for. So in saying so, I hope that me reading that out helped someone out there. And if you want to listen to some great music, Black Veil is obviously an option. And any music that you might have that helps you in these kind of moments that we're talking about, that helps you push through because you are the one with the power, let me know. I really want to know those specific albums, even if you want to throw it in a DM because it's really something you don't want to talk about, you don't really want to share. I'm not going to push. But anyone listening that wants to share an album that means something to them, even if it is just a song, an artist, whatever, reach out at Lights Monarch on all of my socials, and I'll definitely give it a listen and talk about it on the podcast, because if it means something to you, then fuck, that's important, especially with this mental health awareness month going around. It's something to talk about. It's something that shouldn't be taken lightly, and if we can open up the conversation through music, then what better way to do it? Because music is personally beautiful. And I know that I might be rambling a little bit, but I have to share, with all respects given, of course, as I worked at the mall today before coming home to record this, and there's one thing that I ended up selling. It was 2 Deftone records, and I don't know Deftones very much. And I'll be straightforward on that. I know they're good. I know people love them. They're a huge band, but I don't know anything myself. In saying so, though, I need to share this story because it's something that just reminded me once again, as I have been reminded many times over, that music is beautiful and music is eternal. Because this girl came up and bought these records, and right before she left, she said she's going to enjoy these records for the first little while, first few spins of it. She's going to enjoy the records. And then she's going to take them to her ex-boyfriend's grave and give them to him. And that personally, like, I don't know exactly how she's going to go about doing all that and whatever, but personally, that's beautiful. And extremely depressing, but beautiful. I didn't even know what to say. I was honestly speechless in that moment. I was like, I hope that you enjoy these, and that when you get to give them to him in that kind of way, like, good luck. I just hope it goes as well as it possibly can. And personally, I'm someone that doesn't deal well with death. I'll be straight up about it. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like having people lost because of it, but it is something that is out there no matter what. And the fact that she shared that with me, probably because she was hurting, God knows what she's going through, or anyone involved in that matter, but the fact that she bought those records with the intention to enjoy them on her own and feel all those feelings and really just start coping and feel them rather than rejecting them, and then to bring them to that grave and leave them there for him, in that sense, is just so hauntingly beautiful. It's so lovely. And, like, obviously, she was young, so I can only assume her ex-boyfriend to be quite young as well. I would have to say, just judging like a random guess, probably teenager to early 20s. And it's really, really sad. And I just wanted to share it because it was a beautiful story that really hit me hard, even though it was just that little bit. Like, I didn't get any context, I didn't get anything else, because it's not my business, and it never will be. I just wanted to share it in the hopes of saying, hey, I hope it went well. And to that guy that is lost now, I hope that music somehow, in some spiritual sense, if anyone believes in such, I hope that it reaches him, because I feel like that is something that just feels whole. For a broken soul, it's something that feels whole. And I really can't say much else other than I wish her and that whole situation the absolute best. And again, Mental Health Awareness Month. Please talk about it. To kind of switch gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about something else that means very much to me. It's a brand new album by one of my favorite artists, my favorite bands, Acres. Their new album, The Host, it dropped on May 2nd, and wow. I wanted to kind of transition into this because it is something that is absolutely emotional and devastating if you listen to the lyrics of the album. And in saying such, before I really talk on my personal opinions with the record, because I loved it, I wanted to share something that they did with Rock Sound. Shout out to them. It's a great publication. If you don't know, go check them out because they talk about a lot of music stuff out in the UK. And they did an interview, a song-by-song breakdown of The Host by Acres. And personally, I was ecstatic when I seen it because it's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to know more about these songs, and whether it was from me asking them or me finding this, I was going to find out in one way or another. And I do still want to have them on the show. I would love to have them on air with all of us here at Lights Monarch, but I just have to reach out and figure out how to do interviews. So we'll see about that one, but I am not going to hesitate on asking them about The Host all the same. Once this episode goes up, I'll send it to them and just see if they'd be interested, as I know that they did listen to the last podcast episode because of Crystal. Shout out to her. Thank you so much for sharing it with them. And the fact, Acres, if you're listening to this, thank you for listening to me ramble on about nonsense. And I hope it doesn't come off as nonsense, because it is all stuff that means a lot to me. And your music means a whole hell of a lot to me. And this album, I think, is honestly the most Acres sounding we have ever seen them be. And the most mature, honestly. The most mature sounding in lyricism and just in production. Like, absolutely amazing. I know I said I was going to read this before sharing my thoughts, but I can't help it. This record really means a lot, and it's something that has sat with me since it's dropped. I know it's only been a couple of days, but I'm going to have this on repeat and just enjoy the ever living hell out of it because it's something that makes me feel, and oh, is it ever a good album? If not a little too short for my taste, Acres. Come on, make another something. No, I'm just joking. I'm so happy to have new music, especially with the EP that was released not too long ago. You put them together, it's essentially like a full-length album in terms of runtime. So they've got music, they've got skill, and in saying all of that, the Acres track by track, as Rock Sound has called it, I just wanted to read it out because it is something that I want to share with everyone here. For what just might be, as of today at least, my favorite album of the year. We'll see, the year still has a long ways to go, but if the year was to end right now, for whatever reason, this one would win number one spot. In saying all that though, Acres guide us track by track through the creation of their new album, The Host, which is out now. So I have to give credit again to Rock Sound. I don't want anyone to think that I'm just stealing everything they're talking about. I'll even say it's by Maddie Howell from Rock Sound, so shout out to her. Go check out the actual track by track. I'll even leave a link to it in the description of the podcast, so I am giving them their due. But track 1, Bloodlust. Jack Rogers, the bassist, says, "When writing Bloodlust, we wanted to try to set a mood, something dark, mysterious, and that builds tension. It fell out of us pretty easy. As soon as I started writing the lyrics to the instrumental, I knew I wanted it to be the album opener. It sonically encapsulated everything the record was about. Lyrically, it obviously mentions the record name and touches on the subject of addiction, letting something bad consume you because you can't live without it, and being addicted or dependent to the double life you lead when doing something you know is bad for you. I think it highlights the themes and feel of the entire record to come. The album name came to us from that track and fit perfectly. It was a no-brainer when rereading that line." On to Not So Different, Jack also goes to say, "This track is about a conversation I had with a close friend about mental health and how they were feeling for the last few years. It was a shock to me as they vocalized exactly how I was feeling, but in a way I could never. It was such an eye-opening experience, realizing that you can suffer in silence and hide behind a smile so easily. You end up doing it so much it becomes normal. And hearing someone else explain how I act better than I could was wild. I wrote that song lyrically thinking of that interaction." On to Ben Lumber, the vocals, he says, "Out of the entire writing process, this song was the only one we had demoed. The main aim of this record was to go into the unknown and really push ourselves creatively. We wrote a bunch of NSD in 2023 whilst on tour, and we knew we wanted to use it for something." NSD being Not So Different, for those that don't know. And in saying that, Not So Different, when I was listening to it, again, I couldn't really pick a favorite song, but that one got to me. It very much did. And the fact, I'm not going to spoil it, but there's a part in the song where they do a thing, and that thing, holy shit, it shivers. Anyways. Absolute shivers. Anyways, that one really spoke to me because the whole mental health thing, I did pick up on that when I first listened to it. And the whole album, again, you pick up on a lot. It's so good. Anyways, Staring at the Sun, which is another single alongside Bloodlust, and of course Built to Bleed, goes, "Ben, for me, this was one of the harder songs on the record to write. We wanted a classic Acres sound, but also a song with unexpected turns and twists. We never really written songs with a chorus A and chorus B, so this was all about trying something different. Landon has such a good way of building and changing structures in songs, so it was super fun to write." Then Built to Bleed, Jack says, "Landon approached us with this idea and we fell in love with it straight away. It's definitely a curveball for the band, but this record was all about stepping outside of our comfort zone and pushing the boundaries on what Acres is. This song is about me learning about the opinion of me I have cast upon myself over most of my life. Never feeling good enough, strong enough, and that my existence on this earth was to purely just exist and be nothing more. It was only after starting therapy that I realized how much I had been putting myself down, valuing my life, and how easy it is to start to believe those thoughts. It's definitely the most open I have been about how I personally feel in a song ever. Then Your Goodbye, or as they say, Empty Room. I would assume they were talking about Your Goodbye. I'm not sure what the translation issue is there, if they just kind of messed up on the actual article itself. Again, don't know, but Ben goes on to say, as much as we always aim to evolve our sound with each record, Empty Room, or Your Goodbye I would assume, was definitely an ode to the sound Acres fans know and love. If there's one thing we do well, it's the beautiful ambient guitar sounds I've always loved about this band, so it was super important we had a couple moments on this album. Then Steal the Light. Jack goes to say, Steal the Light is a product of a few drinks in the studio and picking up the guitars and just seeing what comes out. We started with the chorus and built around that idea. Probably one of my favorite memories I have of the entire studio process was that evening. Lyrically, it's about regret, ghosts of the past, and trying to move on from something or someone. Then the album ends with Around Again, which Ben goes on to say, this is a song I absolutely love and it almost didn't make the album. It's one of the more pop-sounding songs we've ever done, and that really excited me. Landon, our producer, had this song floating around on his laptop, and when I heard it, for the first time, I instantly knew I wanted to work on it. I remember waking up in our Airbnb at 4 a.m. and having a verse melody and ended up demoing the whole song until about 8 a.m. before our studio session. And that was the track-by-track breakdown that Rock Sound did for Acres, the host, which holy shit, that album, again, I cannot give it enough praise. And I don't mean to overhype it or overzealous anything towards it. It's only 7 songs, it's 22 minutes long. Bloodlust, Not So Different, Staring at the Sun, Built to Bleed, Your Goodbye, Steal the Light, and Around Again. It is so emotionally filled, emotionally charged, and just honestly everything that I could have hoped for. Not exactly what I was expecting by any means, as the album starts out very heavy and ends off being more soft, especially with that last song, Around Again. He wasn't lying. It is their most pop-sounding song, and I'm not going to say much on it, aside from the simple fact of please give this album a listen, because it is something that made me cry and made me feel, and the amount of goosebumps and absolute shivers that I felt while listening to the whole thing, especially when it came to Around Again as the album just ended. I was left feeling honestly different from every other Acres record I've ever heard. Granted, that doesn't mean that those records mean any less to me. Burning Throne is still one that I absolutely adore and probably will forever because of what it means to me. But when I say that it made me feel things that I never had before, it's because of how cleaned up everything is. How much more the production sounds, how much clearer the vocals are compared to the instruments, the mixing, the production, everything towards this album is the best Acres has ever sounded. And I can't give them props enough, be it to the producer, to the band members, to everyone involved on the project. They really knocked it out of the park, even more than I could have ever imagined, and even ever thought. Acres, congrats on the album release, and I cannot wait to be able to hear even more about it from you directly or from other interviews. Whatever the case is, I'm excited to see where you guys go, and I'm glad to be along for the ride. And if you would like to do an interview, please let me know, as I will be reaching out. And thanks again for listening, as well as making something that we can all relate to and feel alongside you. Your album really is just amazing. Anyways, to not go on too much longer and sound like it is the utmost all-time album of all time, whatever. It's great. I love it. I know I have bias, but I can't lie. It needs to be seen. It deserves the praise, and I can't help but giving it such. To move past that a little bit, I need to talk just the slightest bit on the NHL playoffs because the Edmonton Oilers, my team, hell yeah, they won. I remember my last episode, I mentioned that they were playing that night, and if they didn't win, that odds are it might not go very well. But they won that night. And then they won the next game, and then the next game after that, and then the game after that. They won round one. They won all 4 in a row after losing 2, and won the best of 7. They're moving on to round 2, which starts this Tuesday. I cannot wait. Against Vegas, of all teams, it's going to be a hard-fought match. It's going to be a hard-fought round. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to hope for my boys, fingers crossed, that the Oilers push on through. And I have to say, Oilers, congrats on round 1. Now time to put your sights on round 2. And the next game, game after game, one game at a time. We've got this. Let's fucking go, Oilers. Let's go, boys. We can do it. And in saying so, the Leafs also made it to round 2, which they had a little bit of a struggle, but they pushed through and made it, even against all odds, because people were really starting to shit on them, just because of their quote-unquote curse that people talk about. Whether or not that's true, I mean, every team is different. I know the Leafs have been Stanley Cup less, if you will, Stanley Cup-less for a long time, and regardless of that fact, they're both in round 2. There is still the possibility for a Stanley Cup final of Oilers versus Leafs. And if that happens, holy shit, I will scream. The world will explode. I don't know. But I know regardless of who wins that, if that does become the ultimate outcome, I want to say Oilers in 7, but regardless of what the outcome is, Canada will be on fire. Because Toronto, if they lose, people are going to be upset. Edmonton, if they lose again for the second year in a row to the Leafs, because a lot of Oilers fans don't really care for the Leafs, or at least some that I've met. Yeah, there's going to be some fights or fires happening throughout the country. I can almost guarantee. Which I do not condemn, by the way. Just have to put that out there. Please don't destroy things. But I can at least hope that the Oilers push through round 2. It is one step at a time. Do not get ahead of yourself. Fingers crossed we can push on through and keep on going to the fucking Stanley Cup. Anyways, to keep it on the track of hockey, something else I wanted to mention just very quickly was the under-18 tournament that happened, the men's under-18 championship. Team Canada won, and holy shit did they ever win big time. They won the game, gold medal game against Sweden, who took home silver, and USA took home bronze. But Canada, they took home gold. They won 7-0 against Sweden. Which, holy shit, what? 7-0 in a gold medal game is insane. I have to say, I know Canada is good. Obviously, we're good at hockey. But for a score that big in the gold medal game, like, obviously Sweden is good to have pushed through to the gold medal and even beat USA. I was very shocked to see that score. I watched the game, and I can't even say much about it aside from just pure shock and like, holy shit, good job, boys. They deserved the win. They obviously played their ass off, and they pushed. They pushed fucking hard, and it was amazing to see. Team Canada, congrats on the gold medal. And now we're moving on to, obviously, Team Canada playing in the men's championship. So, I just heard, like, not too long ago, today even, that Sidney Crosby is going to be a part of that men's team. So, keep your eyes out for anyone that enjoys hockey. That's going to be a tournament to watch. It should be fucking great. I wish McDavid could go and play with them, but obviously he's helping the Oilers out. And I want him to help the Oilers out until they ultimately either don't make it or make it all the way. All the same, though, I needed to mention it because, hell yeah, Team Canada, it is always nice seeing them take home a win, especially when it is a gold medal win or some sort of championship win. So congrats, boys, on said win. And in between all of this, I had to mention this just for a quick moment here, that Crystal and I made a movie wheel, if you will, one of those apps that you can click the button and the wheel spins around. We made a movie wheel. So we have a bunch of movies that we've been trying to watch while she's been here, And we've gotten through a bit, but we are always distracted by, oh, let's scroll through streaming and waste 20 minutes to an hour. In this way, we click the button and it gives us a movie and we're already ready to go because we have a chunk of movies to watch. And in saying so, we've already started. We've gone 4 deep out of like 29 of them, which there will be more than 29. It's just we put them in order. Like there's some series that we're trying to watch which are also in there. So, for example, Superman. We have all of them, like all of the Christopher Reeve Supermans, which there's 4 of them. Which I guess I am including Superman Returns. So I guess there's 5, even though Superman Returns I know is not Christopher Reeve. All the same. Those movies. I started by putting Superman, and then when we watched Superman, we took it off and then added Superman 2. So in saying that, bear with me because it is more than 29. But we watched Terrifier 3, into Superman, then into Fight Club, which I really shouldn't talk about that one. If you know, you know. And The Greatest Showman, which we watched just the other night. So honestly, great choices. It's been all over the board, and it makes it honestly a little fun to kind of not know what we're going to get and just kind of go with whatever the fuck happens. So I personally love it, and I know she does too, and I just had to share it because it is something that I can't help but say has been a highlight of the trip. Like, I know it's something that's very, very small, but it's something that makes me smile. And it made it just kind of feel a little bit more like interesting and intriguing, like the unknown, I guess, of just clicking the button, seeing what it lands on, and then we get what we get, and we can experience it together, because a lot of these movies, either she hasn't seen, or I haven't. Like Terrifier 3, we both have seen before. Superman 1, I love it, I've seen it, but she's never seen it before, which was so cool to show her. And then Fight Club, I've never seen that one. Then The Greatest Showman, I've also never seen that one, and she's seen both of them. So as we go on, I'm sure we'll be watching more, and I will share a little bit more on it if anyone's interested, just to kind of say, but I needed to share a little bit because Crystal's going to be leaving soon, and it is something that I'm coming to terms with, and I'm sure she is in her own way, and we've got about another week left together, and we're going to try to get through as many of these movies as possible. Whether or not we get through all of them, doubtful, but we're going to try, and hopefully we can make some dent into what might end up being like a 50 different movie kind of wheel to spin through. We'll see. Now, I've rambled off a lot already this episode, but I want to end by saying some new releases that just came out, being Me and You, the live version included by Hobo Johnson, and Jordan's House live, which came out a couple days after Me and You, being a live version of the song by the same name from The Revenge of Hobo Johnson, which came out a while back during like 2021, 2022, around COVID times anyways. His return after the fall of Hobo Johnson, for anyone that knows him, obviously. I personally love him. He's a little poet, little writer boy. He's a great artist in my opinion, but not a lot of people click with his stuff. He's very decisive, if you will, or divisive rather. All the same, though, next one is Negative Space by Silverstein for their upcoming follow-up to Anti-Bloom, which just dropped this year, in Pink Moon, which drops this fall on September 12th, which also has a fucking Dayseeker feature. Hello? Like, very fitting on, like, truthfully, it's very fitting because I originally seen them live, Dayseeker and Silverstein, on the same tour. They came to Edmonton together, and honestly, it was a fucking wicked show. I'll have to talk about it more in depth sometime and share some videos I took, but my god. So cool that they're finally making new music, and it makes me hyped to think that maybe there's a possibility that they make their way back down to Edmonton like they said they would. Together, preferably. Because that would be insane. Anyways, that is also out, alongside Mine or Yours by Hikaru Utada. My girl, she's the one that sings the Kingdom Hearts songs for those that don't know, not the ones that are made by Yoko Shimomura or the other people that make the Kingdom Hearts music. I just know Yoko's the main one. She's the one that makes the songs like Simple and Clean, Sanctuary, Don't Think Twice, and the opening from 3, Face My Fears. She's the one that does all those songs. Amazing artist. I really love her, and that song's such a fucking vibe. Then Gemini Moon by Violet Night. The boys in Violet Night. Connor, he's my buddy. I haven't talked to him in a while, so if you're hearing this, Connor, I'm sorry I haven't reached out. Completely my fault. No excuse given, just I'm sorry for being a shitty friend, if that's the case. But I am very happy with your new song, and I am going to reach out here soon if you don't hear it from this podcast, if you're listening. If not, you'll hear my thoughts on the song and a little bit of a catch up here and there. But Violet Night really knocked it out of the park with that song. Makes me even more excited to hear this upcoming album that he keeps saying comes out this summer. Very excited, as Violet Night has held a close place in my heart, and love the guys that are involved. Just hope the best for them. Really hope this record gives them everything they're hoping for. Then, a work of art live in Australia by Ice Nine Kills, the Terrifier 3 song, of course. Live, it doesn't miss a fucking beat. And obviously, as I mentioned prior, The Host by Acres. That is another one that came out recently. I adore it. Obviously, I already went on long enough about it. I don't need to continue. But I will be listening to the new Ghost album soon enough. I haven't gotten around to it. Same with the albums Matt has mentioned me. I know. I'm sorry. I will get to them as soon as I'm able. Life is hectic. When I get there, I'll get there. And as soon as I do, you'll fucking know, I promise. In saying all that, thank you for listening to all my rambles and whatnot. But more importantly, thank you for discovering the music within.